This is my 1.3 cardiovascular system PowerPoint assessment. First, I'm going to talk about the functions of the CV system. The cardiovascular system, or CV system, is essential for everyday life and maintaining good health. It is the reason we can fight off illnesses and infections while supporting the muscular system by constantly supplying oxygen to our muscles for movement. Firstly, nutrients delivery. This is where nutrients such as proteins and glucose are transported around the body. For example, glucose is burnt to create heat energy and to build protein to build bones. The next function is waste product removal. Lactic acid is an example of a product we would want removed from our body, as it can be painful and possibly cause long-term damage to our muscles. The CV system can also transport oxygen around the body through red blood cells. The next two functions are quite similar. They are blood clotting and protection from infection. Platelets in our blood form clots and scabs to prevent major blood loss, and white blood cells help fight infections. The last function is thermoregulation. This is the process of maintaining a steady body temperature, internal body temperature. It is carried out by vasoconstriction and vasodilation of the blood vessels. Double circulation is the process of blood being transported from our lungs to our muscles to provide oxygen. It is essentially the route of blood. The main organ at work is the heart, which acts as a double pump. Starting at the top, we have the lungs. The lungs provide the blood with oxygen. This means that the blood is oxygenated. Oxygenated blood is usually shown in red on diagrams. The oxygenated blood then travels down the pulmonary vein, where it enters the heart through the left atrium. It then forces the bicuspid valve open from where it enters the left ventricle. Blood then goes up through the heart, through the aortic valve and into the aorta. From the aorta it goes into the muscles, where gaseous exchange takes place in the blood, and the oxygen is used up by the muscles, making the blood deoxygenated, and the missing oxygen is taken up by carbon dioxide. Deoxygenated blood is often shown blue in diagrams as on the screen. The blood then moves to the systemic vein and down to the vena cava. It then enters the right atrium through the tricuspid valve and down to the right ventricle, then up to the pulmonary artery where it reaches the lungs, becomes oxygenated, and the process is repeated. The structure and function of the heart. The heart has three layers. The first is the endocardium, the middle layer. It's responsible for allowing contraction. The epicardium is the outer layer which protects the heart. The third layer is the pericardium, which lines the pericardium cavity for support. Aside from the layers of the heart, there are four chambers. Firstly is the atria. These are the two upper chambers. They allow blood to fill into the heart. The bottom two chambers are called ventricles. They hold majority of blood in the heart and pump it through the heart. The bicuspid valve is found on the left side of the heart, and it allows oxygenated blood through. The tricuspid valve is found on the right side of the heart and allows deoxygenated blood through it. The chordae tendineae or chordae tendons are attached to both bicuspid and the tricuspid. They prevent backflow of the blood. The papillary muscles anchor down the heart's valves to make sure they are not moving. The aortic valve is on the left side of the septum. It allows oxygenated blood up and down of the heart towards the muscles. The pulmonary valve is the right side of the septum, which allows deoxygenated blood up and out of the heart to the lungs. The cardiac cycle. This is the process of the heart contracting and relaxing, pumping blood out and around the heart and taking in blood. Contraction of the heart is the pushing movement in the cardiac muscle caused by stimulation. Relaxation is the resting phase of the heart. It allows refill of the heart and rest time. The heartbeat is the pulsation of the heart, so it's like the pace and tempo at which a heart contracts and relaxes. Systole is the contraction phase of the chambers of the heart when the heart is contracting and pushing blood out. Diastole is a relaxation phase of the heart, allowing refill of blood. The conduction system. The conduction system is the heart's regulating system made up of specialized tissue that can create movement in the heart and the heartbeat. The sinoatrial or SA node is the heart's natural pacemaker that controls the tempo of the heartbeat. It is located in the left atrium. The atrioventricular or AV node receives an action potential from the SA node, and it's located above the left ventricle. The bundle of hairs are a series of fibers that receive an impulse from the AV node and pass it to the Purkinje fibers, which are located in the myocardium of the ventricles, receiving an impulse and completing contraction of the heart by stimulating blood and pushing it back up through the heart. In the first phase, oxygenated blood begins to fill the left atrium and deoxygenated blood begins to fill the right atrium. This is called atrial systole, as it fills during relaxation. As pressure builds up, 70% of the blood pushes through the bicuspid and tricuspid valves into the ventricles. Oxygenated blood goes into the left ventricle and deoxygenated into the right. This is called ventricular diastole. The remaining 30% of the blood needs to be pushed through, as there isn't enough pressure in the ventricles for it to go back out. This is done by contraction. The SA node sends an impulse down the AV node, allowing the two valves to open, letting the remaining 30% of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood to pass through the corresponding ventricles. This is called atrial systole. During this process, the SA node keeps the pace of the impulse being sent, maintains it at a steady rate to buy time for a refill and the contraction itself, the actual process of contraction. This is why the SA node is known as a pacemaker. Passive filling is where there is no contraction during the filling process, and active filling is where there is a contraction during the filling process. The second phase of controlling the heart, once all of the blood has been contracted through the valves and into the ventricles, it is ready to be pushed up and out of the heart. Firstly, the impulse from the AV node is sent down the bundle of his. The impulse is then passed to the Purkinje fibers. Once the impulse is passed to the fibers, it pushes both oxygenated and deoxygenated blood through their correct valves. Oxygenated blood goes up the aortic valve and deoxygenated blood goes up the pulmonary valve. The oxygenated blood then travels down to the muscles where the oxygen is used by the muscles at work, and it is replaced with carbon dioxide or CO2. The now deoxygenated blood travels up to the lungs, gaining oxygen and travelling back down to the heart, where the process is repeated. The influence that the ANS, or their autonomic system, has on the cardiac cycle. The medulla oblongata is the control centre of the conduction system of the brain. Within the medulla oblongata is the cardiac control centre, aka the CCC. This starts all cardiac muscle impulse stimulation. These influencing factors are done by autonomic nervous system, or done by the autonomic nervous system, or ANS, which controls and stimulates the involuntary muscular system. The CCC and ANS control the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, or the SNS and the PNS. The ANS's influence on the cardiac cycle. The parasympathetic nervous system. The PNS sends an impulse to the SA node to slow down the heart rate. Firstly, the CCC sends an impulse to the PNS. The impulse then travels down the vagus nerve to the SA node. Just before the impulse reaches the SA node, there is a release of acetylcholine, or ACH for short, which is a chemical neurotransmitter. This prevents the SA node from sending impulses, ultimately leading to a lower heart rate. The sympathetic nervous system or the SNS is there to increase the heart rate. The CCC sends an impulse to the SNS. The impulse travels down the accelerator nerve to the SA node. As in the PNS, just before the impulse reaches the SA node, another chemical neurotransmitter is released. However, in this case, it's called norepinephrine. This chemical causes the SA node to increase its tempo, meaning the heart beats faster. Structure and function of blood. Erythrocytes, or red blood cells in the blood, carry oxygen around the body. Leukocytes, or white blood cells, fight off infections and disease. Platelets clot at wounds and cuts to create scabs, preventing major blood loss. Plasma is a watery liquid that transports blood, cells, and platelets around the body. Something to know is our blood is made up of 55% plasma and 45% all the other products. Finally, there are the structure and function of blood vessels. It's done with arteries. They have a thick elastic layer to deal with high pressure and velocity of blood. So when it is pumped out of the heart, it can stretch and deal with the high pressure without bursting. They're controlled by the SNS, and they take blood away from the heart to working muscles. They have 3 layers. They are the tunica adventitia, the tuna medica, and the intima. Arterioles. Arterioles have surrounding capillaries which ensure blood is going to the correct destination. They're also ringed with smooth muscle which is capable of contracting and constricting certain areas. This increases the smooth flow of blood, and it relates to vasoconstriction and vasodilation. Next is capillaries. These are the smallest out of the 5 blood vessels. Capillaries are usually 1 cell thick and are found around muscles and the lungs for gaseous exchange. They also have the 3 layers, which are the tuna, adventitia, tuna medica, and intima. Second to last are the venules. They're there to take away blood from the capillaries towards the veins. They do not have any smooth muscle tissue, neither are they very elastic, and they don't have to deal with any high pressure. Finally is the veins. The veins have smooth muscle tissue and a large lumen, which allows smoother blood flow. The larger veins in the body also have valves to prevent backflow of the blood. Their main function is to transport blood towards the heart. They also have the 3 layers of tuna the 3 layers. Oh my god! The 3 layers, which are tuna adventitia, tuna medica, and tuna intima. Thank you. That was my 1.3 assessment.